How you doing, everybody? In this video, I want to talk about what it feels like to be paralyzed, because I have been a paraplegic for the last 5 years. As a matter of fact, it's very fitting that I make this video today because I was paralyzed exactly 5 years ago to the day, July 8th, 2014. I got into an argument with my father. Well, actually, my mother and father had been arguing for weeks. I'm talking weeks, months. There was drinking going on. There was, on the weekends. There was, I don't, nothing too. It was nothing too crazy. But my father was being given medication for his testosterone. I mean, he was somewhat of an older man. He was being given medication for, for testosterone, and I believe it made him violent. He was smashing, everything around the house whenever he'd get angry at my mother. And my mother has a way about her, okay, where she'll roll her eyes at you and then deny she's doing it and make it look like you're crazy. And she was doing that to him, okay? And finally, I had actually got into an argument with her about what she was doing. I said, Mom, he has been really on edge lately. He's been violent. He's been just absolutely sullen. Maybe you should cool it and you should stop, okay? She, tells me, don't worry about it, whatever. We started arguing on after maybe a week of this going on. My mother and I started arguing. So my father comes down at the stairs and we start arguing. So then, we argued all day, back and forth, till finally it got to a point that I was ready to leave. You know what? It almost got physical. We were in each other's faces because I remember he's making threats like left and right. All right, he was threatening my mother all week, what he was gonna do to her. He was gonna make it so. If I tell you what we were fighting about and why I'm sitting in this chair, it is so stupid and so silly you would not believe it. Okay. You would not believe it. All right. So what happens is, he sneaks up on me, and as we're coming out, I'm ready to leave. I came out of my room. Yes, I was living with my parents at 30-something years old. At 30 years old, I was about to turn 31. I mean, times were rough. I had to move back in with my parents. Hey, what do you want me to tell you? I had problems. Okay, medical. Some medical, some psychological, you name it, and I was coming out of my room, bang, got shot. The bullet ricocheted and it hit everywhere, my heart, my lungs, and one of the places it hit was my spine. So this video is more, that's how it happened. This video is not going to be about, pretty much the story of how it happened, but it's going to be more about what it feels like to be paralyzed, and I want to get into that, okay? The first, I think a misconception, or the first, erroneous or just a sort of notion people have about being paralyzed is when you say, I can't feel my legs. It's always said, someone gets paralyzed and they say, I can't feel my legs, and it's true. I lost a great deal of sensation in my legs. As a matter of fact, after I got shot and I went down, I went to go touch my legs to see what was wrong. I didn't know what happened. I thought maybe I fell a certain way and maybe I hit my tailbone and that was radiating, but it felt like I was touching someone else's leg. All right, and that was kind of scary for me. I knew I was paralyzed instantly. I know. I said, "You paralyzed me." When he shot me, he said, "You're not paralyzed. Put your legs up." This and that, he said, "Put your legs up on the wall." I'm like, I can't. Like, you just paralyzed me. Like, I was sitting there, like, I was like, well, you might as well. I looked at him, I said, well, you might as well finish me off. You know what I mean? He held that gun to me. I had to dial 911 on my own. I had to go reach for my cell phone which was in my shorts at the time, and I called 911 on my own. I said, they were asking me, is he still in the house right now? Does he still have the gun? And I said, yeah, he's pointing it at me right now. I didn't know whether he was gonna do it. I started praying to myself. I just started praying. I started, apologizing to God and showing compunction for my transgressions, because at the time I I was a creationist with a great deal of transgressions under his belt, and not some things I'm not too proud of. So I started praying, pretty much my version of the act of contrition, maybe, my own spin on it, maybe. But you do feel your legs. It feels like electricity is constantly running through them. I feel like more like the inside of them, as opposed to like if you touch the outside, I couldn't tell you really. But sometimes when you touch the outside of a person's body, they it makes the muscles on the inside flex, and you can kind of feel them a little bit. So I do feel that. As far as going to the bathroom goes, I am completely incontinent. I can't go to the bathroom on my own. I have what's called a suprapubic catheter put in through my my stomach, and it goes right in through my bladder, and it facilitates the transference of urine from my bladder to a bag which I empty. And let me tell you, these bags, there's times they break open and urine leaks down your leg into your shoes. There's times the nozzle leak of the bag leaks, gets all over the place. There's times that sometimes the rubber that connects the bag to your to your body breaks, and that there's times it'll do something called kink, where it backs up, and where sometimes you'll be sitting on the tube and you won't even realize it, and it'll just kink and it'll leak out of the sight, and you'll get urine all over the place. There's times they have to change every 30 days, and they'll miss a date that they have to change it, and it won't be as taut as it's supposed to be. And it's not until you leak urine all over yourself that they say, oh, maybe it's time to change it, instead of changing it on the day they're supposed to change it. You know what I mean? Like, they wait for it to become a problem before they do something, and it's me having urine on me that they don't care. You know what I mean? That's like, hey, it's not you. Hey, why care, right? Some other about what it exactly feels like. It feels like pressure sores are a major concern, because you don't realize it, but it's amazing how much moving I did at night. I never realized until I became paralyzed, because at first what they were doing was they were stabilizing me with they used to put this pillow that used to put my feet on. They used to like sort of put pillows around me to make sure I was stabilized and in the same position all night, which was very restrictive. I had hold on a second. Let me just pause. I'm gonna gather my thoughts. Let me think about what I want to say here. Sorry, it's just sometimes talking about this really it gets to me. I gotta just think about what I'm gonna say so I don't get frazzled. You know what I mean? And so like I said, there's the urinary aspect of it. As far as me going to the bathroom, as far as me doing number two, there's times I'll become constipated because your spinal, everything below your injury is, I'm T3, so everything below is like sort of just, the efficacy of it has efficacy of those organs has attenuated somewhat. That's your colon, that's your stomach, you know what I mean? That's pretty much your whole digestive system, where you get bunched up sometimes, and it's important to remain active so you can go. The way I go is I don't go on the toilet. I go on, I have a diaper on right now. I just go into that. I don't care. I just go into that. I don't care. I'm just at the point, I have no pride. I'm at the point where I plan on being trained to clean myself up, but it is very hard. All right, it is extreme. You'd be surprised. A lot of people show, like Joe from Family Guy, how he just moves around so easily and just so effortlessly, and it's just 1, 2, 3. He just grabs a chair. He does, and I think that character, believe it or not, actually makes people in wheelchairs look. I think it's flattering to to actually make the implication and the and to actually depict them being able to do so much, or having that level of adroitness in terms of their motion. All right. Now this is gonna cut off, and part 2 is gonna come on. So if you feel like watching part 2, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much for anybody watching right now. But Yeah, you know, that's, I mean, like I said, there's more to it. I want to see what I can